Oh, what's that? Big Think's back? It's only been like what? Like 2 weeks since I filmed one of these. Jesus Christ. Apologies for taking so long to get back onto this. I don't know. I just got distracted a little bit. Had tons of work to do. Been doing lots of late night gaming streams on this world where I've been listening to the entire Swans discography. Well, not the entire like discography on stream. I've been listening to a lot of Swans albums. For the sake of a tier list video that I need to get done by my birthday, which is on the 8th of next month. So, it's like 17 albums that I gotta get listened to, and then I gotta get a tier list video filmed on them. It's just a lot of work, It's a lot of work that I've had to get done, and yeah, I don't know. It's been kind of stressful. But anyway, we're back with the big thing. We're back with the big thing. Gonna shear a bunch of sheep, because part of what I want to do today on the game is go down into the Nether and do some more bed mining down in the Nether, and also figure out the coordinates where the other portal I put down there is. Because I don't know if I've even like shown you guys my shit in the Nether yet, because it's all been on stream that I've been doing so much of this stuff. Like I made so much progress on stream that like my base looks different to how it did in the previous video. Like I've got a bunch of stuff in the Nether, upgraded a bunch of my gear. I've got full diamond now. Progress has been kind of crazy, and I apologize for not doing it on video. We're doing it on stream. You should come into the streams, by the way, if anyone's watching this who hasn't. The streams are really fun. It's basically just me listening to albums for upcoming videos and stuff. And yeah, it's just a great time. Anyway, let's get into what I want to talk about today, which I'm going to be honest, I don't fully know just yet. I've got like a handful of topics that I kind of want to cover, and I don't know which one to go with. Like, there's some mental health topics I could talk about. There's I kind of want to have an episode where I just kind of chill and talk about music and what excites me in music. There's life stories and fun and funny shit that I can talk about. I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult doing this podcast thing. Trying to come up with shit to talk about and also decide on what it is you want to talk about. Such a difficult life I lead. It's a lot of fucking beds. Can we make one more? Can make two more. I apologize, I had to sneeze there. Let me think here. Hold on. Right, give me a minute to think about what I want to talk about, and then when I get back, I will talk about that. You know what? I'm just going to kind of start with a segue topic, I think. I'm going to start with something that happened earlier today in... actually, I already had beds in here. I didn't need to get more. Actually, hold on, I need to write down my coordinates real quick. Yeah, I'm going to start with something that happened in my stream today. And basically what happened was someone came into my chat who was having some serious mental health problems. All right. And I kind of want to talk about how I handle something like that happening, because obviously like a music request live stream isn't really the best place for that, and I'm also someone who doesn't want to like come across like, oh, don't talk about that in my chat. Keep it on topic. No one wants to hear about that. That's not me. That's not what I want to sound like. That's not how I want to come across, because someone having mental health problems is serious. This is someone who like is like a regular chatter in my streams, as well as someone who I have a lot of respect for. It's always nice to see him in my chat. So being combative and being, I don't know, just being like just pushing this person to the side and being like, no, don't talk about that in here, just feels wrong to me. But also, my live streams are not really a place to talk about that stuff, if that makes sense. Because, firstly, I don't know the person. I'm the content creator. I am someone who recognizes the names in chat. I am someone who gets kind of a gauge for these people's personalities based on how they interact in the chat. There are people that I speak to like multiple days a week, sometimes, for my streams, 7 to 8 hours on end. Some people will be there for like the entire stream like that. And it's like, I don't know. It's weird because I kind of like, with people who are regulars in my streams, it's like, there is like a little kind of sense of community because I am a smaller channel, because I am, a far cry from the biggest person in the space I operate in. Like, I get, say, 20 to 30, well, it'll say like 30 concurrent viewers at the most during a request stream, and we'll say we get about 60 to 70 different people throughout the course of an entire 7-hour stream, Like, that's how many different people come in to check out the stream. Could be even more than that if there are, like, lurkers who seriously just don't state that they're there. And stuff like that. But, with that, with, how many people end up staying in the stream, stuff like that, obviously there's going to be the regulars and people that I kind of get to know a little bit better. But still, in that regard, I don't know these people. I don't know what most of them look like. I don't know what most of them sound like. I don't know how old most of them are. I don't know what most of them do. I don't know what most of them... I just don't know. I'm just making the most long-winded way of saying I don't know the people who watch me, Which is, probably a good thing, because that means stuff's not getting, like, parasocial, because that's a dangerous and slippery slope to go down, getting into parasocial territory. But, yeah, someone came into my stream who was having, like, a really rough day, and was talking about... I don't know, just serious problems. Stuff that... Like, the type of thing that I was looking at and I was going, oh, Jesus Christ, that is, like, insane. And I'm, I felt, like, terrible having to try and, not necessarily shut it down, but having to try and say, look, this stream isn't the place for this, This person is coming to me for help, and I'm not in a position where I can, because I do not know the person, because I am not a mental health professional, because I do not have enough information about what is going on to be able to help them, and also because of the fact that I am in the middle of what to me is work. I have all of these factors kind of getting in the way of me being able to help in any real way, and it just, I don't know, it kind of sat in my head a little bit the rest of the day, being like, if I was in this other person's position, I would feel like complete shit about that. Like, go into this place for help and then not being able to find it. And I don't know. Just part of me felt like it was unfair for me to shut it down. Part of me felt like this person seriously needs help, and I'm like sat here not providing it at all. But at the same time, I also then started going down the mental rabbit trail of, it's also not really my position as a streamer to do that. Again, not knowing the person, and like not having enough information about what is going on to be able to even speak about it properly. There was just like liner notes that were being said in the chat, and it's like, I don't know, it's a weird thing that kind of fried my brain a little bit. I was like, I felt like such a dickhead just being like, hey, listen, you need to speak to a professional. You can't talk about this stuff here because none of us know you, and none of us are in any real position to be able to give you serious help. Like, I felt like such an asshole. Which, you know, I know I'm not for doing that, which I know it is a reasonable thing to do, especially when this person is looking in what is the wrong place for help. But that's just it, you know. I always feel like throughout a lot of my life I've been the person who helps. You know, whenever people have some serious shit going on in my life, I am somebody people, like my friends, will look to a lot of the time. When I was in secondary school, even like now, that still happens. And I just... it felt like I was kind of going against that side of myself, because I'm used to being somebody who helps, and it just messed with me a little bit not being able to do that. I felt like I was letting somebody down. I felt like I was just being like a bad example, even though I wasn't. Even though it was the right thing to do in saying to look at professional help, to talk to people who know you, to talk to people who are going to have a better understanding of what you're going through. Because at the end of the day, even if I did try to help in that moment, there's nothing I could have done. I do not know the person. I do not understand their problems. I do not know like how their brain works and wraps itself around these issues, and like what effects can come with experiencing something like they had experienced today. So there's literally no way for me to help, you know? And it was just like, damn, I wish I was able in this moment to do for this person what I've done for so many people before. And I just couldn't. And I'm not trying to fucking paint myself as this absolute fucking hero, like, oh, I solve all my friends' problems. Most of the time, it was just a matter of me just listening to them talk. You know? And, like, not even being able to do that in the moment, just, I don't know, it felt like shit. It felt rough. It was... just kind of felt like I was going against a lot of what I've stood for in the past, and it was like a weird awakening moment for me as well, of being like, damn, I really cannot help everybody, huh? Like, there are going to be times where I just need to accept the fact that, like, I can't really do anything in the way of helping certain people when it comes to mental health stuff. And I think the reason I get this obsession with, like, helping people out with mental stuff is because of the stuff that I've been through. Like, I see people going through similar experiences to me. I see people, you know, having an issue that I found myself either having had a similar issue before, or having had sometimes the exact same issue before, been in their shoes. And I just feel like, you know, if I can, you know, like, send some advice, share an experience with them that helped me out, send a coping mechanism that helped me out, or even just be someone who was there to listen. I felt like because of what I'd been through, I had a duty to do that. And that today was kind of an awakening moment that I can't just be that, you know? I really cannot, like, be somebody who can listen to everyone's problems and share, like, shit I've been through, and, like, help anyone I can who has been through similar shit to me. And it's weird having that shown to my face. It's weird being in a position where I'm like, oh, wait. Usually, I'd be able to just sit down and talk with this person, have like a chat for an hour or so, and then shit would be not necessarily like better or fixed, but I will have helped them just feel a little bit better, or I will have put something into perspective for them, or I will have inspired them to go and, you know, just do something to take their mind off of it, you know. And I genuinely couldn't do that, and it just felt off. It felt weird sitting there and saying to somebody, "This is not the place that you. This is not a place that you can really come for help for this." And I felt like such an asshole. I felt like such a dick. And man, do I wish I didn't have to do that. Now, that's not me saying that I wish the person didn't come, like, looking for help, because it's an as I said in the stream, it's a good thing, looking for help. Even if you don't end up looking in the right place, it's a good thing to look for help. Regardless. You know? At the end of the day, it made me a little bit happier that I know that at the bare minimum this person is, like, seeking help. And that, you know, they find enough comfort in what I do. They find enough comfort among the people who are in my chat, among the people who watch my videos. They will come in and, like, look for help here. Is my portal through here? My portal's to my right. But man, I don't know. That was just a weird learning moment for me. That was like, oh man, I guess I just can't. I can't be that all the time. The one thing I thought I was really good at, which was like the listen and help guy, I just sometimes I can't be that. It sucks. Because for the longest time, especially like when I was in secondary school and even parts of last year, I kind of forced myself to be that guy all the time. Because I was good at it. When it came to like my friends, because they were people I was more comfortable with, I was really good at like just sitting, listening, understanding from like being able to see things from their perspective, as well as like giving things from other perspectives if they need it, as well as telling them which direction I would take were I to be in their position, and like giving just general advice like that. I did that a lot. And I don't actually know where I was going with this point. Hang on. Let me retrace my steps here. I went down a bit of a mental rabbit hole and I kind of lost where I was. Oh shit, ouch. Yeah, I kind of was that for a long time. Throughout secondary school, throughout a decent bit of last year, throughout a decent bit of this year. I just kind of have always found myself doing that. And I've kind of realized that shouldn't be like a role I take up. Because as I was thinking about it earlier, I kind of realized, I was like, but I also shouldn't be forcing myself into a position where I should be relied on. Holy shit. Wow, guess I'm going this way. Oh, I guess I'm going this way. Yeah, I shouldn't be putting myself into a position where I'm being relied on by people, you know? Because at the end of the day, I'm not a therapist. It's not really like my job to sit there and help people with all of their problems. Like, I'm just not really capable of that. And while there was a period of time where I was able to do that, because I had friends going through a lot of similar things to me, things that I had myself experienced, things that I had a decent grasp and understanding of, that I could sit here and say, hey, I've seen this happen before with people, here's what helped other people that I've seen go through this, and or hey, I've been through this myself, here's what helped me. A lot of those types of conversations, you know? And I don't know, I just... That's not who I should be, if that makes sense. Oh shit. What am I doing, man? I kind of had in that moment had a realization of, wait, I literally cannot physically like be that for everybody. You know? And what, I don't know. It's a weird thing to kind of come to the realization of, because I've spent so much of my time... I should not break it here. Oh my god, wait, right. That's my staircase upwards. Yeah, I spent so much time kind of being this person to come to for advice, this person to look to when you're just getting tough or you need somebody to talk to. That for the longest time, that was just like me. That's what I saw myself as for other people. It's what other people saw me as, and I kind of just took up that role and did it, you know? And I kind of realized in the moment how much of a negative effect that kind of had on me. There would be times where I'd sit there for like hours on end, kind of just listening, giving help, but never really taking care of me. Never really, like, truly expressing when, you know, shit was up with me, when things were going bad for me. Like, I never truly, like, let that out. And that's bad. You know? That's how a problem gets worse and worse and worse, is when you don't, like, actually talk about it. You bottle it up. The exact piece of advice I had given just earlier in that stream was, don't bottle it up, that's how things get worse. When that was the exact thing I was doing while I was in a position of being the person that people were coming to for help, you know? It's the exact thing I was doing. I was keeping all of my shit internalized for a lot of the time, and I was just kind of not really caring about that too much, because I felt like, well, you know, I'm helping other people, and that's all that matters. And that's such a bad mentality to have. You know, like, feeling like there's no time for my problems because there's other people who have problems was a terrible, terrible mentality for me, and it kind of forced me into a lot of different bigger issues that are still kind of affecting me today, like stuff I'm still processing from years ago that I just never let myself really process because I didn't feel like, I don't know, I didn't feel like I needed to, when in actuality it's the thing I just kind of needed the most back then. So if there's any big takeaways from that little rant there, it's that, like, you should, like, be helpful where you can, but also prioritize you know? let your mental health be an important factor, because I didn't, and it kind of caused a lot of big problems for me. And I find it interesting that, I don't know, the discussion of someone coming to the wrong place for help, coming to me when it was the wrong time, made me realize that a lot of the times that I thought were right times were the wrong times. Or a lot of the times where I thought I was the right place to come for help, I was actually the wrong place. Because of me. Because of what I was experiencing at the time. Which is like a weird thing to kind of just have come to you. I was like, oh wait. No. This time before... No, just because I was this person's friend, and just because I understood this person, just because they could talk to me, doesn't mean that it was right for me to completely push everything about me aside and let myself just kind of get lost in other people's problems when the problems I'm facing are already basically not insurmountable, but so large that, you know, it should be my priority to, let me, 521-1309. So I want to be heading in this direction. Minus 521, minus 1309, okay. Yeah, I should have been, I just should have been prioritizing me. And letting these people who needed help just find it in other places from time to time. I don't want to say I got egotistical about it, but I found myself, that is hard as fuck. Look at that tree up there. Okay, I'm playing on Quake Pro, so if I look at this, like, look to the side. Look at that fucking tree up there. It's incredible. I need to get off Quake Pro. But yeah. I don't want to say I found myself getting egotistical about it, but I found myself seeing it as a responsibility, something I needed to do. I was like, okay, that's my role, it's my job. I am the person who helps my friends, and that's kind of what I need to be. You know? I need to just buckle down and just help in any way I can, help every way I can. You know, listen, give responses, give advice all the time. And then I just found my own mental health to be a bit of a burden against that during that time. I found my own feelings to just kind of be a distraction, being like, man, I need to stop thinking about this shit because there are other people who seriously need help, and I'm not able to give it to them because I'm too busy focusing on, like, insert thing that happened the other day, or, you know, insert massive bit of stress from school or stuff like that. And that was so unhealthy. And it led to a lot of lasting issues. Like, I think it's part of why I developed insomnia, because I'd just be, you know, kind of I will have been helping people process their own problems, and then it would get to nighttime, and then it would be time for me to finally start processing my own. So it would get to ridiculous hours in the morning, and I'd just be led there in bed at like 5, 6 a.m. just still thinking about my own shit, then falling asleep for like an hour and being woken up for school. And that's kind of led to today, where throughout the day, well, it's not even like throughout the day, like night times have just become the time where I think about my mental health. Night times are just like rough for me now, because once it gets to night, like I just got so used to waiting until that time to talk about not to talk about myself, but to think about myself and to think about my problems. And I carry that over to today, and I still, I don't know, it's just still a habit. That's part of the reason, I think, why I did develop insomnia and why I have such trouble sleeping. Because again, that's kind of what insomnia is. It's just loud brain at night that stops you from sleeping. It's just thoughts racing a million miles a minute while I'm led there trying to get some sleep. But it's so loud. It's so unforgiving. Like, there's nothing... I don't know. I don't want to say there's nothing I can do to stop it, because there are things I can do to stop it. I can try like sleeping pills and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't know if that would come at the cost of me not processing my mental health at all, because I don't even do it at night times now. And I just like kind of fall asleep, wake up the next day, get back to work, wake up, fall asleep the next day, wake up, fall asleep, get up the next day, get back to work, you know? I don't want it to become that, and I'm scared that like if I start getting normal sleep, I'm just going to stop processing my problems, full stop. It's a weird position I find myself in, where I understand that yes, I do need to, you know, fix my sleep schedule. I do need to get better at processing all of my shit. But I also just kind of am scared that if I choose better sleep, what if I lose actual processing of my mental health? What if I lose actual progress that I'm making, that I think I'm making, at least? Because I think I'm making it. I think I'm doing better. But I don't know if that's because I've kind of let that insomniac side of me take over, and I just kind of will stay up thinking about shit all night. Or if that's because I've found like my outlet through YouTube that has improved my mental health, which I know is a huge factor in why my mental health has been better. I don't know, it's kind of, it's a weird position I find myself in, where I don't know which is the better option for me, because I don't know which one actually makes me better. And I'm scared of taking that step and ending up worse. Because I've been worse, and I know what worse feels like, and it's scary, and it hurts. And it's a difficult thing to cope with, really. It was like an impossible time to navigate for me, because I just felt so lost. I felt so hopeless and very alone at that time. I don't know. I kind of don't want to get back to that. I'm getting too personal now. I need to remember that this is not like a full-on vent session. This is meant to be train of thought thinking. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like this is fine to talk about, because it's something that's kind of relevant to my content creation, and it's like, is that a factor in my mental health, or is it the fact that I'm not sleeping and I'm using that time to process it? It's again, such a weird thing to think about, because I try and put it into perspective with myself and try to rationalize it, and I just can't, because I don't know, is it the fact that I finally have my outlet, why my mental health has been like not fixed but better, or is it the fact that I just don't sleep, and I get to think about all of those things, and kind of, by the time I am asleep, by the time my body has just crashed, I've just thought so much and that I've finally come to a point where I've processed it. It's weird. Such a strange little mental rabbit hole I find myself going down right now. And I don't actually know what to think about it. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know which option is the correct one. I don't know if there is a correct option. It could honestly be neither is the option, and it's just like better understanding of myself or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know. And we're getting going off topic here, but this is why I love Big Think. This is why I love doing this, because I've just gone down a full actual mental rabbit trail. We started at like me talking about not being able to help someone else with their mental health, and then that segueing into me talking about how I cope with my mental health and how my insomnia is a big factor of that. That's why I love doing this so much, is I get to just have interesting little mental rabbit trails that I go down like that. Interesting little think pieces that what I find to be interesting little think pieces. Maybe someone heard this and just hears incoherent ramble. It all makes sense to me. I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm talking about. But I do understand if this comes across as a bit just blabbery and like a bit of just word dump. I do understand. I can get like that sometimes. I can be a little difficult to understand from time to time. I understand that. But yeah. I kind of don't know where to take it from here. I've only been going for I've been going 40 minutes, but there's also like a little chunk where I was thinking about what I want to talk about. I don't know. Huh. Maybe I could talk about how mental health affects my content. That's a fun little topic to get into, actually. How does mental health affect my content? Now, obviously, making YouTube videos, I need to be very conscious about how I'm doing mentally and not overworking myself. Well, not even just me doing YouTube. Anybody in any position needs to do that. If you overwork yourself and if you let your mental health get bad, you crash. You crash hard. And that is the worst thing you can do, is let yourself get to that point. It's the worst thing. Because it's a difficult position to get out of, It's a very difficult position to actually, wrap your head around and fix. So that's why I've been very conscious of that. And I've kind of done my best throughout my time doing this to be as honest with myself as possible, know when I need to take breaks, know when I need to step back and just say, okay, I need a bit of time, or else shit's going to get messy. And up to this point, I think I've done a very good job with that. I have taken breaks when I need to. I've never had like a meltdown on camera. I've never had any serious problems arise with me doing this. I've never really had any desire to stop. And I'm proud of myself for that. I'm proud that I've never really let this get to the stage of me getting really bad and just not being able to handle it, Maybe like a bookshelf. It's called a shelf. What are they called? They might not even be called a bookshelf, I don't know. What was I saying? Jesus, I got distracted. So, as I was saying, I need to be conscious of the fact that if I overwork myself, I will crash, and that can have like lasting effects on my channel. You know, if people see me like hit a big state of burnout, or I just like have a day where I kind of snap a little bit and I just like go off on stream, you know, that's just gonna make people be like, oh, you know, it's gonna change their perspective of me. And I need to make sure that I'm taking care of myself so that doesn't happen. I need to make sure I'm taking care of myself so I never find myself in a position where people, you know, think that I'm not able to do what I do, because like I just have too many problems, you know? We unfortunately in the music space have been shown an example of what happens when you don't like properly take care of your mental health with Bad Taste in Music. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and kind of turn what happened with him into the topic. I spoken about it a little bit before on here, and I don't know. It's just a topic that I don't want to get into. But we've seen an example of that with him, of what happens when you like don't take care of your mental health when you do this, and you just kind of go down a spiral. And I need to make sure that I don't do that. I need to seriously make sure that I'm taking care of myself when I need to. I need to make sure I'm taking breaks when I need to. I need to make sure that I'm balancing what I do with my life properly. Not overworking myself, not setting ridiculous expectations for myself, not allowing it to get in the way of like other people's position in my life. You know? Like, I have a girlfriend who I already like get scared that like my work and how busy I find myself being like gets in the way. I find myself getting scared of that a lot of the time. And she gets it, she understands. She has said many times to me that she understands that I need to do my work to be able to grow what I do, and that's absolutely fine. But it still gets on my mind like, oh God, I feel like I'm not given enough time. Oh God, I feel like I'm not... I feel like I'm wasting her time, making her wait for me. You know, I'm already in that position right now, and it's something that I'm slowly... like, it's something I'm slowly working on easing myself off of. And like, I already have that factor affecting me mentally a little bit. And like, there's also the factor of like, is it making me distance myself from my friends? Is it making me distance myself from family? All that stuff where I'm already busy outside of this. And then I have this on top of it, which makes me super, super busy. You know? And then I need to balance that with like how I'm doing mentally. I'm someone with mental health problems. I've never hidden that. Because I've always just felt like, you know, it's something people are probably just going to infer about me, which people have inferred that about me. You know. And I just feel like I should be honest about how I'm feeling, but whilst not oversharing, whilst not like trauma dumping, whilst not coming on camera and being like, hey, my life's terrible. I hate it here. I hate everything. I'm going through this, and this. I need to not do that. You know? That's bad. That's parasocial. But I do still feel the need to be like, okay, I gotta be honest. Like, if some serious shit comes up, I gotta be honest. I gotta say how it's affecting me so that people understand where I'm coming from if I'm not doing too great on a stream, or if I'm looking a little down in a video. Stuff like that. I feel like I owe it to people to at least be honest on that front, just so that they understand where I'm coming from, what's happening, why I may be acting a particular way one day and another way the next. Only because it would kind of be a bit unfair of me not to just expect people to blindly just be like, okay. Anytime I'm, you know, not doing great, you know. I do owe it to people to be honest about that stuff. And I guess in a weird way, getting to be honest and open up about it a little bit does kind of help. Where I get to just come on camera and I'll be like, hey, you know, just to warn you guys. You know, I'll give them like the absolute basic, be like, hey, something happened. Or, you know, I've had like a busy day, or I'm super tired today. And then, you know, to just be assured that like that's fine. And to be assured by people that like, hey, we get it. You know, shit happens. It's like, okay, thank God. I'm glad that people are viewing it that way. I'm glad that, you know, I get to be in a position where the people who I work for, I don't know, the people who I guess I kind of work for these people. The people who watch what I do will be accepting of when I am just not in the best position mentally. I'm very thankful for that, and it's very reassuring. So I guess the way that my mental health can affect my content is it tends to make me slower. It makes me so much slower. If I'm having like a bad mental, it used to make me quicker. If I was having a rough time, I would just like sink myself into work. I would just be like, okay, it's time to distract myself. It's time to just go all in on editing. It's time to go all in on a stream that I'm doing today. But as time's gone on, and as this has kind of just become the norm for me, I can't really like just do that anymore. It's weird. It's like the problems caught up with me a little bit. They were like, aha, we got you. We see what you're doing. This little mechanism can't save you forever. You know? And I'm like, damn, okay. Guess I'm gonna have to find a new way of avoiding all my problems. And that has led to me procrastinating. If I'm having a rough time, I'll be like, man, I'm not in a position where I feel like editing today. Or if I'm having a rough day, I'll like cancel a stream. Stuff like that. Stuff that I feel like shit about, you know, where I'll be like, man, I really want to stream, but I can't in good conscience get on camera and, you know, fairly listen to the music that people want me to listen to when I'm in a position like this. And I just feel so unproductive. Like a big thing that happened to me just last week was my Wi-Fi went out for the day. You know, I had a day where I had no internet. And I felt unproductive, and it made my mental health go down the bin. For that entire day, I was miserable. I was like, man, I had so much work that I had to do. I had this like big productive day planned. I was talking about it on stream last night. I was going to do this, I was going to do this, I was going to do this. Then I couldn't. Then I was left there, stuck in my living room. Couldn't do anything on my PC. Do anything on my phone. Couldn't work. Couldn't stream. Couldn't really like record a video on an album. I was just like just left in a position where I couldn't work. I could not do the thing that I had kind of formed a bit of a dependency on, you know. And again, just an unproductive day always makes me feel terrible. Because I'm always like, man, I'm not getting any work done. I'm not making any progress. I'm not working hard enough. I'm not, dedicated enough to this. Like, I'll get thoughts like that. And I need to stop. I can sit here and say that I need to stop all I want, but I know it's not as easy as that. It's weird. Because as people, we can have like so much self-awareness about like, damn, that thought process is really bad and it doesn't actually reflect how things really are. And then we will sit there and continue to have that same thought process regardless. It's strange. Yeah, I feel like I've become a bit... I don't want to say like a workaholic, but I've become a bit like dependent on my work, I've become a bit like, man, I need to just constantly be working. I need to constantly be making progress. And then like I'll have a bad mental health day and I'll procrastinate and then I'll start feeling even worse because I'm like, oh great, now I haven't even gotten any work done today. Now I'm, being useless. Now I'm not making any progress, and that'll make it even worse. And it's been a weird thing to try and like get myself out of. Ow, what the fuck just damaged me? It's been a weird thing to try and get myself out of. Because the second I like even do a hint of what in my mind is procrastinating, I just immediately default to I'm not doing enough work, I'm unproductive, I'm failing at what I do, and I don't know how to kind of stop that thought process. I don't really know how to assure myself that productivity can sometimes be halted and that things will still be okay. I'm trying to find where these zombies... I need to kill skeletons. I want bones for bone meal, for that sugarcane. What the hell is this? Jesus. Another one. 2 more. Oh my god. Christ. Anyway. What was I saying? I've just kind of been in the process of figuring out how to get myself out of that mental state, because it's easy enough for me to sit here and be like, man, I shouldn't think like that, man. I need to stop relying on productivity to be the only thing that I rely on. But I know damn well, if I were to wake up tomorrow and not get any work done, I'd be like, shit, I'm useless. I'm a failure. I'm doing all of this wrong. I don't deserve the position I'm in. And it's thinking like that that leads to things like imposter syndrome and at least a whole bunch of other bigger problems that I just need to make sure don't develop. I need to stop it before it starts. And luckily, it hasn't started yet. I'm still, like... I'm still aware of the fact that, like, no, that thought process is wrong. I'm allowed to have days where I'm not, like, just maximizing productivity. Yeah, I also need to make sure I don't get there. It's just a weird balancing act doing that. It's a weird balancing act. Yeah, I kind of feel like I've labbered enough. I mean, 57 minutes, coming up on an hour. I feel like that's good. I've kind of danced around in circles a little bit on this one because this is a topic that I like getting a little too into the specifics of, and I end up repeating myself because I'm like, oh, hold on, I can say it this way, I can say it that way, I can say it this way. When in actuality, it's just like, yeah, shut up, move on. Too much blabber, not enough substance. And I apologize if this episode was a bit blabbery, was a bit unfocused. But I do like the progression of the conversation today. I do like the move that was made from talking about how I deal with someone having mental health problems in one of my streams to how my mental health affects my content. I feel like that's a good little, I don't know, a good little path we took. It's been a fun one. It's been a fun one. But yeah, let me know what other topics you would like to see me discuss down below. I want to do this more regularly, as I, kind of neglected Big Think for a little bit there, kind of completely just didn't do anything with it for like about a week or two. Again, I apologize for that. But yeah, let me know what topics you'd like to see me talk about down below. Let me know, I don't know, what are some guest topics you'd like to hear? What are some like actual conversations you'd like to see me have with, I want to get my friend Gage on here. I would like to get Jay on here. Maybe get like, I don't know, specific viewers from some of my streams who I feel like would be fun to have conversations with on here as well. Yeah, let me know what shit you'd like to see me blabber about down below in the comments. Give me solo topics you'd like to see me talk about. Give me duo topics you'd like to see me talk about. And yeah, just general things that you think it would be interesting to hear my stance on, my opinion on, my experience with. Make sure you check out my main channel. Link in the description to that. And I will see you all in the next one. See ya.